today, especially considering it's holiday season. So my name is Niko Natek from the Energy Agency of Savinjska, Šaleška and Koroška region. We are based in Slovenia and are joining the highly experienced and diverse consortium of organizations as the project coordinator and lead procurer. Together with our partners from Empirica and others, we are taking on, as the name of procuRE project clearly signals, the immense challenges related to achieving climate protection targets while increasing energy independence, resilience, and decentralization with the use of renewable energy sources. In the context of producing energy where it's needed and when it's needed, our focus are, of course, buildings, the demand side, so to speak. And of course, the advancement and integration of novel technologies through the pre-commercial procurement or so-called PCP process. We have highly experienced expert with us today that will provide more detailed information about what PCP is and how it will be carried out in the following years. But before we move on, I would just like to add some general notes on what today events is about and what we intend to do. So next slide, please. So the open market consultation, or OMC for short, very broadly speaking, is meant to facilitate the transfer of information and foster dialogue, both on the relation between the procurers and potential suppliers, as well as between different suppliers looking to establish consortia for applying to the tender. From the side of the buyers group, who is looking for specific technological solutions that would adequately address the challenge of 100% renewable energy supply and other requirements that we are bringing to you, we want to inform potential suppliers about the procuRE pre-commercial procurement and the opportunities that we are bringing forth, to explain in as much detail as possible about the pre-commercial procurement process, its scope and timeline. We are also trying to foster dialogue with potential suppliers about the scope of the procurement envisaged, and of course to facilitate networking and matchmaking among potential suppliers that are interested in addressing the challenges of the procuRE project in industry-wide consortia. Anyway, not to make it too long, next slide, please. I would now just very briefly introduce the team we have with us today. Besides me, we have Mr. Georg Vogt, the head of ICT Innovation Energy at Empirica, that is based in Germany. He is basically the man in charge for all technical things regarding the PCP process, who will also moderate the event today. Joining us is also his colleague, Mr. Mehmet Bulut, who is a senior researcher at Empirica and who will provide information about the next steps, what is coming, and how to participate. And last, but certainly not least, is Mr. Roberto Federici, who is the research group leader at EURAC Research Center based in Bolzano, Italy. EURAC is our team of experts for all areas related to building performance and technological processes. And today, Roberto will present the aim and scope of the procuRE project, most specifically on what is planned and expected in the renovation approaches for the pilot buildings. So I guess that's all from my side for now. I wish to you all a pleasant and productive event, and I give the word now to Georg. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nico. Thank you. Yeah, Nico is our lead procurer. Without him, there would be no procurement. He would be to all suppliers, basically, the contractor. We are a joint procurement of 6 cities, so you don't have to sign 6 contracts. You sign 1 contract with Ksena, and Nico will be together with his colleague Nesh in charge there. Yeah, why do we do procuRE? Where does it come from? Basically, we have buildings, they consume a lot of energy, they require retrofitting to reduce the amount of energy they are consuming. And this is happening very slowly across Europe. And not only is it happening slowly, we have a resource problem to make it more quickly, to make it happen more quickly. Basically, workforce is limited and money as well, obviously. So on procurer level, or from the side of those who operate buildings, what is the problem for them? They are facing a very fragmented market to achieve high level renovation, basically not only doing it incrementally, but bit by bit, by really to aim for the 100% renewable experience, as we want to here in procuRE. They face a very challenging market, a lot of technologies they don't understand, or it's hard to understand because the suppliers are being innovative, but not necessarily, nobody's really summing it up. And ultimately, even if a procurer is very keen and understands the technology and puts the necessary technologies together to go out and procure a complex solution, then investors would probably shake their heads and say, this is way too complicated, I don't understand it, this is risky for me if I go into contracting with it, rather just go to the old approach and put a bit of styrofoam on it. Where does it come from on the EC level? Basically, renovation wave have started with the European Green Deal, and yeah, it is to solve the problem of 35 million buildings and be more sustainable. And yeah, the public sector is strong. It operates many buildings and the majority of non-residential buildings, and hereby obviously has a market power on the demand side, which is to be utilized in a joint consortium, and to also show that not everybody has to procure by themselves, but that we can procure as a group, and thereby obviously making the entire tender more attractive to suppliers. This is the consortium, 6 cities across Europe, including Israel and yeah, Turkey. All of them together, they operate 21,000 buildings. So not all of them are due next year, but over the coming years, a good share of it. And they want to make the process more easily available, the renovation, and to a higher standard. Ultimately, if they have climate goals, they want to eliminate offsite supply, renew any kind of energy with fossil fuels. And one way to do it is to eliminate offsite supply. Basically, if the building is green by itself, then it doesn't need any energy provision from outside. Obviously, there are other means of getting green energy in, but with heat always being something often located on site, this is not necessarily possible. We will spend 7.7 million on R&D services, and the budget is spent in 3 phases. Yeah? You enter a technology funnel as a supplier to basically convince us at each step to say that you are the best to choose to equip buildings in the project. And it will be 3 schools and 3 offices to be equipped. Not all by one supplier, but rather by 2 or 3 suppliers. We don't know this yet. How will the project come about? So basically, what is the common challenge and what is the output we will expect during the project? We obviously want as much as effective work as possible. And to this extent, we have developed a structure of basically 2 levels. The first level is the renovation approach. This is the majority of your technical offer you would have to provide us with to win the tender. The renovation approach summarizes how you will solve the problem of renovating any building, any non-residential building, quickly, cheaply, and wherever it is possible. This, what you write in the technical offer, will continue to live. We don't throw it away, which often happens in tenders. No, it will stay with us as a deliverable. You can continuously improve. And at the end, if this is the product you want to go onto the market with, then this is basically something you have been working on for 2 years' time. And the renovation approach has to be applicable to any building. Yeah? So the collection of technologies you get together is something you can go anywhere to. In the project, as part of the project. So call for tender, you saw initial developing and throughout all phases continuously developed. And then the renovation approach is applied into renovation packages. A package is specific to one building, and you will be working with the buildings, obviously, the target buildings in the project. So the renovation package is derived, is a subset of technologies from your renovation approach to a specific building. And in phase one, you will be asked to give a schematic design. So basically preliminary detail on the building. In phase two, there will be more time, there will be more money. Detailed design, basically near construction detail to which you then can implement. And in phase three, yeah, you will install and you will operate the building and test the systems, basically providing evidence for us that this is a good way to go and evidence to the EC that this is something to be funded in future projects and so on. You will develop renovation packages for all 6 buildings. How is this linked? Well, the renovation approach is a document. It's basically theoretical as an approach. The renovation package is specific to a building, and obviously with being a specific building, questions come up, and these are to be resolved in the so-called co-design procedure with procurers. It is a bit part of the challenge that basically the role of procurers and the involvement of the procurers needs to change if they were ever to be able to renovate many buildings at once. And during operation, continuous commissioning should ensure that the performance is delivered, and if anything needs doing, that you basically present it in a way that procurers can act and obviously satisfyingly for both parties. So as sum up, in phase 1, phase 2, you would work on renovation packages for all buildings. In phase 3, you would equip 2 or 3 buildings, a decision to be made soon. And obviously final in the tender documents. PCP, a brief summary. Well, obviously it's about innovation. Obviously it's public procurement. And for suppliers, the benefit is that this is a different kind of work. You are able to develop together with your customers. I mean, I assume they are always your customers, and you can work very closely with them on a solution, not only fighting about whether you deliver it or not, but actually drafting and iterating it, and then obviously delivering it. They are demanding, the customers, yes, but they work together with you, and with having talked to the customers, you know maybe better how to commercialize the project actually successfully, because you know what they are listening to, what the true needs are. You don't develop in a bubble, you develop together with the customers. You develop in real life scenarios. We discussed this. There are specific buildings and ultimately installations in real buildings. So it's not only lab-based development. And normally in procurement, there are 2 situations. Either it is based on already existing IPR, so you just deploy what you already have, or you are contractually bought to produce R&D, which then goes over to the other party. In this case, it's something in between, in that you develop something, but you can keep it, and you keep it for good if you act on it. Yeah? Otherwise, the procurers have a fallback position to basically utilize the IPR, but only after 4 years' time. So you have 4 years' time to use the IPR to go into the market. Yeah, and we will do our best to make it visible on the EU level. And yeah, you are already working together closely with operators of 21,000 buildings. I hand over to Roberto, who will explain more about the technical side of the challenge.
So Morning all. Thank you for participating into this workshop today, in this event today, also by my side. A bit more of a technical insight into the project. Once more, as we said before, what we want to get out of this project is approaches and technologies, solutions in general that allow to reach 100% renewable energy supply, energy sources supply for the building, heating, cooling, and ventilation solutions. So we want to cover energy needs of the of public buildings, in particular schools and offices, with renewable energy sources that are available on site. So again, obviously, as far as the electricity grid is going to be more and more renewable, we could imply that we use more renewable energy for covering thermal and electric needs of the building itself. But again, the scope here is to go beyond what is already available and try to cover these needs with renewable energy which is produced on site. For this, what we want to ask the suppliers is to model the integration of different components that allow to cover these needs, that constitute the HVAC system of the building, with solutions that are sustainable in terms of technologies used and investment costs related. And again, in our opinion, a good opportunity for doing this is to use advanced BIM solutions, which not only are used for design purposes, but also for maintenance purposes, so monitoring and control of the BIM. So in our opinion, a good opportunity would be to use BIM throughout the life duration of the system itself. And again, this would the use of these BIM infrastructures, BIM solutions, would allow to establish a good interaction with the procurers. On the one hand, providing clear information to them, on the other hand, providing allowing to establish code, what we call what Georg already said, establishing this co-design procedure, as we said before. Plus, again, what we are going to ask the suppliers is to also take care somehow of the investment burden, offering financing or servicing contracting models to the procurers. And we will see later on eventually what we are talking about. This is the overall framework. What we want to aim to is, on the one hand, 100% or near 100% renewable energy supply for heating, cooling, and electricity. We want to have solutions that are easily configured in a way that they can be adopted for more than one building, for more than the single buildings that the suppliers are going to address. Again, the topic here of the overall view or the overall perspective here is not to retrofit the single buildings that we have spoken about, but to find solutions that can be replicated to a large extent over the buildings by the procurers, and eventually the building stock by the procurers, and eventually they can be replicated outside the consortium largely over Europe and the countries that are involved, in general, that are involved in the project. Again, the solutions should not only be replicable, but they should somehow be able to say have a 100% renewable energy source coverage for the HVAC system, not only from the design perspective, but also throughout the life duration of the system itself, as I said before. So again, we are not only looking for systems that are working on the paper, we are looking for systems that are somehow able to be surveyed and maintained and operated over the life duration, and that are continuously, eventually also continuously optimized, so that again we overcome this limit that we most of the time see, which is we have very good design procedures, good systems on the paper, but then when we go on site, they are not performing, and with the time passing by, they are not performing as expected. Once more, we want to assure that there is a good interaction with the procurers, and this is most important because, again, procurers will need to use the system, use the buildings, the systems, and therefore they will need to say their word in the entire procedure. This from the technical point of view. From the economic perspective, again, there are already on the market solutions that you can use to reach 100% renewable energy supply. Indeed, you just need to use as many PV panels as you can. You can install wind turbines, you can install batteries, you can install large storage systems, whatever you can. Indeed, what we have seen over the last few years, many years, of trying to apply technologies and reaching this 100% renewable energy goal, is that the investment barrier, the initial investment barrier, is too high, and then public procurers are not they are not in the position of adopting these technologies for. So again, one of the requirements we are going to track and request to the suppliers is again to address this economic investment entry barrier somehow. How the game is going to be: the buyers group, which is the procurers group, will define what is the problem and what are our criteria. So how proposals are going to be ranked, and through the design procedure. The buyers group will not tell what, or in principle, will not state what are the solutions that are to be used and that are expected. There will be this co-design procedure to be implemented, but again, the suppliers define the solutions, and they are ranked based on the solutions that are proposed. Okay. Indeed, the buyers group will not accept anything. We identified already what are the main outcomes we would like to see solved or addressed and solved by the suppliers, which is basically we said in other words, the best solutions will be accepted that on the one hand allow to reach the near zero the near 100% renewable energy supply, provided that the major shortcomings identified are addressed in a proper way. And the major shortcomings are what you see on the slide, which is again the suppliers are on the one hand expected to work and explain how they want to address energy generation and distribution in the building, if and how they want to integrate and to what extent they want to integrate energy storage components in the building energy management, and again, what are the energy management solutions they want to integrate. So we are talking here about energy management system or building energy management systems. Again, we believe that these are the three main categories of components that should be addressed. Indeed, we also identified the fact that only proposing component sets that are not working together in a synergic way is not sufficient. So again, it is not because you use a good heat pump, for example, or a good cogenerator, or the best cogenerator on the market, that you can achieve good performance of the HVAC system itself. You need to, we believe that, for a system to work properly, all the components need to work in a synergic way, one together with the others. And for this reason, the suppliers will be requested to present system packages, so to say, in which the different components are not only listed, but it is explained how they work, and they are going to work together and interact together. Plus, again, it will be requested to understand clearly how they intend to monitor and manage the system package. This is all from the technical perspective. From the economic perspective, and again, we expect that the proposals by the suppliers are going to include also contracting and financing solutions. So the proposal should not end with the technical part. It should include also eventually energy service contracting and financing solutions, and the proposal should also address the interaction and the involvement of the people who are going to use the building. On the one hand, the professionals, meaning the energy managers that are managing the building overall. On the other hand, the occupants, the users, the final users of the building. So again, we are going to request also to address this issue, which is to explain on the one hand at a detailed level, on the other hand at higher level to the users, how the HVAC system is designed, how it is monitored and controlled, and overall how it is to be used in a way that the expected performance is reached and maintained over the duration of the system itself. The proposals that we are going to receive are expected to be organized and focused around these blocks, shortcoming blocks, so to say. And again, the buyers group will set an expert group to analyze the proposals again, the proposals are going to be ranked and evaluated, rated over the 8 main blocks that you again see on the screen. As an example, again, we are, as Georg said, we are preparing the tender documents where we are going to explain how the suppliers should address the procurer blocks, the procure blocks. How the documents are going to be organized is more or less in this shape. So again, you will receive documents in which the procurer blocks are going to be organized and described, starting from the rationale, why we are asking this kind of information, what are the shortcomings that we again individuated, and what we expect to be addressed and what we expect to be proposed by the supplier themselves. Here an example, system package design, which is again this one. This is just an example, really relevant to us, but again, it is one of the blocks. This is not the most important, really relevant, but not most important. They are all really important to us, so they should be all addressed properly with the same effort, so to say, and with the same relevance. Rationale, building on system package design. Again, what I said already, using different components without having them working synergically, one with another, is not does not guarantee that they work properly. So there must be a view of designing a system package overall. Again, the system package should be something that the procurer understands and accepts, and the system specification should be clear, not only for the procurer, but also for technical people at procurer side, but also for decision makers. So again, a good opportunity to proceed with this is with BIM, in our opinion. Shortcomings I can skip. I already said what we would expect when we collaborate with suppliers is that they promote the elaboration and validation of the overall process towards the design, delivery, and maintenance of the HVAC packages. They simplify the interaction among all the stakeholders, and from our side, and by our side, stakeholders here is procurers, suppliers, eventual local decision makers, national funding agency, local construction companies, whatever is needed, whoever is needed to come to a conclusion, a positive conclusion in this design and delivery process. And again, that there are clear specifications on how to install and manage the system. Not only specifications that are understandable for the technical people, the energy manager, but also for non-technical procurer personnel and for the users of the building. Again, this is under elaboration. It will be ready soon. And in the meantime, if you want to contribute to the process, please feel free to contact us. And again, I think we will have also, if I understood correctly, we will have also a session now to get your feedback and questions on the presentation after now. And this was myself. Georg, I don't know if you want to take over again.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we can, exactly. Meanwhile, just a lesson learned. What I did wrong is that it is not enough to do it in the settings. When you go down here, then you can close and open voting. I don't know whether I did it automatically in the past or because I used the copy this time, it wasn't turned on. Anyway, let's quickly go through the Menti.com, and the number is at the top, and the link also works, I was told. So the first question is quite straightforward. You just say which organization type you are. This is just to practice, basically, but don't worry if you haven't answered. It doesn't matter. The second question is whether you already have experience with pre-commercial procurement or the short-term PCP. Yeah, only a few are responding. You can also open it on your mobile, Menti.com. But yeah, not many are familiar. That's not a surprise. It is very special. I mean, there have only been 60 projects by the EC funded so far, and it's the first project in the energy domain outside of cloud infrastructure or IT infrastructure. So what do you associate with 100% renewable buildings? Simply enter the words what you think it is critical to make an existing building 100% renewable supplied. Yeah, at this point, the question is obviously a bit tricky. Let's maybe we skip it if this originally intended at the beginning. Yeah. Roberto, any take?
No, really. Interestingly, storage is there. It appears quite a lot. But also digitalization with measurement, demand management, and automation is there quite a lot. So I think that is a good take. Solar, indeed, is that in different ways.
Yep.
Yeah, and optimization together with management. Interesting. Also, apps and mobile devices is interesting to us, I think, to address mainly the users.
Yeah. Yeah, this will be obviously tricky. You saw that some of them are schools, so there will be also maybe, I don't know whether you would want or not to address the children or only the teachers. Yeah, but I think COVID brought us all a bit closer to all the ideas of apps in general. I mean, the general population, not us here, probably not, but the rest. Yep, very exciting. Well, it's getting more and more specialized, machine learning.
Yeah, but that goes together with optimization, demand management, smart grid enabled. I think that is all really interesting.
Yeah. I move on. What you've learned now about renovation approach and renovation packages, is it clear? Yeah. If not, then tell us. In general, you can also say, ask any questions in the chat, and you can ask questions also on Menti by using this button at the bottom. Our distinction basically of the theoretical approach and the specific implementation as a package. No take, I will understand as it's clear. Well, apparently it is. Good. Then maybe you want to tell us how difficult each of the building blocks is in your view. If you leave it on the left, it's easy. If you pull it to the right, it is getting more and more difficult to achieve.
So if I understand correctly, Georg, here we are asking where the suppliers see the highest challenges.
Yeah.
To be addressed.
Exactly. Okay, Menti seems to have for the first time that occupants education is further up.
In fact, I have the same thought. Still, occupancy education is on the high side. But I think, in fact, it is on the high side. It is something that people tend to forget, and it is one of the reasons why HVAC systems are not working most of the time, because they are not used in the proper way.
Yeah.
Okay. Energy management components and package monitoring seems to be on the easy side, which is interesting, while storage seems to be the difficult part, the most difficult. Very interesting.
Yeah, definitely when it comes to the seasonal storage, it is definitely true. Maybe not the technologies itself, but getting it work in the building. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is for the next one, so I just skip it. I would then move back to the presentation and explain the procurement process a bit more. So basically how you get chosen and how you would run the project, how the project is run. I said a lot of this already. I just highlight what it is, what the critical parts. Basically, it is an R&D service contract, so it is obviously a high degree of innovation. In our context, we don't think the single technology needs to make a big jump, but the entire integration of everything. This is the big jump in innovation. So you will have to invest in R&D effort here. You develop prototypes. We understand prototypes to be both the renovation approach as well as the application into renovation packages, and then ultimately the deployment in the pilot sites, obviously. It is competitive, so it's a innovation funnel. At the beginning, more, and then fewer and fewer suppliers who get further on. And yeah, this is only possible because we are in a special legal framework. Basically, the balance where we can fund R&D whilst permitting you to do business with it. Often these two things are supposed to be separate, but in this case, it is. You can take the R&D and you are supported by us to also create a business from it. Yeah, multiple phases becomes clear with the next slide. We are in phase 0. We are looking at the market, what there is, who there is, refining the challenge, obviously drafting the tender documents. Ultimately, expected in October, we will launch the tender, and you will have 3 months time to respond. And over the other 2 months, January, February, will be evaluation as well as information, basically, so that you have time to set up and start phase 1, in which you have, solution design is officially named by the EC, that you basically develop the first designs for the buildings, the renovation packages, the prototype development. It is, getting them further to the near final version, and in phase 3 you deploy the solution in the buildings. Phase 4 is like a wild card. You can assume it is a wild card. So given the solutions are efficient, effective, it works. What you've done works, and it does supply 100 or near 100% renewables, and it is overall extremely promising, but the cost of going to market are still too high. Then we will do our best to approach the EC to follow up with a so-called PPI project. It is a scale-up solution where we, the procurers, basically would receive less funding to offer to you, to the suppliers, but it will be funding, and combined with own resources, it will be basically close the gap between market competitive price, your current price, and something in between to basically finance the scale up, the R&D further. Yeah. So even if you're currently thinking, I will not be ready to go to market at the end of the project yet, then there might be this PPI solution to basically bridge the technology gap from now to full commercialization. The phases. Just a brief overview. Yeah, in phase 1. We just started the discussion a bit, whether we originally often said 8, whether we should make it 6 or not. It's ongoing. I don't know. I just wanted to put it here that it might be a change because it might change in the future version. All of it is preliminary. Whatever matters is obviously the tender documents to follow in a few months' time. It is 3 months, 2 months effective work, 1 month reporting. What you do, I already explained. You improve the renovation approach and you draft the preliminary renovation packages. I hope you don't hear the rain, because it started to rain heavily in Bonn. This is the summer as it is. In phase 2, there are less suppliers left. 4, there's more money, and you obviously tweak it further. You get further with it. You roll out the co-design procedure to the full extent, and at the end you have complete plans for the buildings, so that you are prepared in phase 3 to go to 2 or 3 buildings allocated by us. Yeah. This is a question in a moment, whether we should do 2 or 3 suppliers. This is a trade-off here. And yeah, as quickly as possible, you will implement the buildings and then generate data of at least 12 months to show that the solution works. Obviously, during this duration, you will also make an offer to the supplier, to the procurers, to operate the building beyond the solution. Yeah, because the equipment is installed in the building, the building needs to then operate and run. But obviously, the project, this is a research project, it has to end at a certain point. But during this phase, there would be the bridge to the future, in that you provide offers probably based on your renovation packages anyway. Yeah, we expect October to be the point in time at which the tender is launched. We prepare the documents now. We will have to review it with the EC, and then if we get a go, then it is going to be launched. Regarding what a PCP is. So first of all, we are a project, a grant project, a research project. The relationship with you is a contract, a direct contract, which means that you give financial offers up to a ceiling per each phase, and the offer includes all costs. And then if you performed according to what was expected of you, you will be paid with the price. Yeah, there's not much reporting in terms of how have you done it or whatever not. There's an invoice at the end, plus the necessary documentation of work done, etc. And so it goes. And with the invoice, basically, depending on your progress in the project, it is over, or you also handed in your offer and go on to the next phase. Eligibility, the typical EC eligibility criteria apply. Whenever you've tendered for on this level, and probably national level, it's almost the same. This is how it goes. There are a few more tiny tweaks in that 50% of the R&D activities have to take place in the EU or associated countries. It's a requirement because it's EC funding. And 50% has to be personal effort. So because it is a service contract, not a works contract, the majority of fund money has to go towards people rather than stuff. Everything will be in English as soon as the tender starts, and the communication will be electronic. Will be an electronic submission. What do you need to provide as part of the offer? There's administration, obviously, declaration of honor, power of attorney, if you are a consortium. A financial section, basic with your price, a binding price for phase 1, and first initial prices, non-binding prices for phase 2 and 3. And then a technical section, which is obviously the most challenging. As Roberto said, we do our best to make it as easy to you to understand what we think is the problem, because we have been thinking about the problem for a long time from the procurer's point of view, and for you to respond well. To that extent, I zoom in a bit, we structure the 3 critical elements for you to score high with the same headlines. Yeah? There are award criteria, so criteria by which you are rated. The content of your technical offer is rated. There's a challenge brief describing what we assume is to be expected, and then is the template in which you write your offer, where there are small technical hints like a work package table to be used and so on. And all of these use the same headlines. So you will always be easy. It will be easy for you to track back what did you expect here, and how will I be with what will I be scored, and what weight does it have. The offer will describe your overall methodology. It will be a good part of it will be, not all of it, a good part of it will be the renovation approach, which will be carried on in the coming phases, in the call-offs for phase 2. Now and then another offer in phase 1 to go into phase 2 and to phase 3, and basically you will update your initial offer. You will update it with the work, with the lessons learned during the phases. The basic rules, yeah, basically a super summary of what is in the request for tender, the bottom part, explaining what is happening. You will sign a framework contract for the entire duration of the project, and then you will sign specific contracts for each phase. They basically list what deliverables are expected of you and how much money you will receive for the delivery of it. There are completion criteria, basically by which we assume that this is done, and the ownership. I stated that the ownership remains with you, and only if you act on it within 4 years' time. After that, the procurers have the right to use what has been generated for their own purpose. But we assume that, yeah, it will be acted on. The problem of buildings is big, so the market is huge, and this is the way to develop it. And we will do our best to help you get noted as an innovative supplier who, yeah, does not want to continue with business as usual, but wants to approach the renovation challenge, the renovation wave, in a different manner. To this extent, there are, yeah, what you see already is where we've been listed already, and there will be more coming. Right now, it is a theoretical project. As soon as there are suppliers on it with basic solutions, which you obviously don't have to disclose in full because it is IPR, but in summary slides or whatever, and your logos, we will push it. On the EU level, we already have been basically made the lighthouse solution, if you want, for procuring in the smart cities marketplace, for procuring innovative solutions for the renovation wave. Yeah, back to the Menti. Your take on whether it should be 2 or 3 suppliers at the end, or this is not what the question now. The question is different. How many buildings you want to equip in phase 3? Is it 2 or is it 3? Wow. Everybody says 3. Yeah, I just noted the challenge that you must then be very confident in the renovation packages, that they are applicable to any regulatory scheme, and you must have technical and resource capacity to do it in quick time. It is not a normal build project where you go here and then you go there. You will expect that all buildings are equipped at the same time, because this is the challenge. We want to scale up in the renovation, and hence it should happen quickly. It should happen in a short period of time. Okay. Are you planning to submit a proposal? If there are any roadblocks for you, anything unknown to you, then please ask the questions. Yeah, maybe also means something is worrying you. Tell us what in the questions, and we will discuss. In a second, we will unmute everybody, so you can also raise your hand and simply talk, or you can write them down, whichever your preference. Okay, a lot of yes. That's very promising and good. You can't believe how much we are looking forward to read a proposal, not only think what a proposal could be. Yep. And are you looking for partners, or do you think you are able to do it all by yourself? That's also interesting for us, because yeah, you're looking for partner. Yeah. Exactly. So here the point, I mean, Mehmet will also say it in a second as well. The matchmaking platform is important, that you can actually find each other. Yeah. And afterwards, if you want, there will be a brief wonder room where you can meet for those who were present here. Yeah. No questions entered yet. I will allow the mic for everybody. So if you want to raise your hands and speak, this is okay. Or you write them down. Especially to those who said maybe, what is worrying you? I mean, something which is unclear, anything. You have to, I allowed them, sorry to clarify, I allowed the mic, so you still have to unmute yourself if you want to speak. Okay, no questions, or did I miss something? Olivier, please.
Yes, hello?
Yeah.
Will you hear me? Okay, so I'm Olivier. I'm representing for Sylphan Solution. This solution is about storage, which is based on hydrogen and battery. Okay. So I'm very interested on the project. I've been listening to your presentation and the previous ones. Well, I have one question maybe on the idea of a potential consortium, or even in the end to get for a full covered solution. To my point, it can be a bit tricky for the partners, or at least at the moment, to see how we will be able to integrate for the solution I've seen the different solutions that are present for different providers. Some are more about the involvement, some are more about specific part of the potential buildings for the refurbishment. How do we manage, or could we manage on our part to deal with this full covered solution that we have to propose? I mean, will your team will help to support to consolidate this final objective? Do we have to? I understand that in a way we have to manage to do it on our own, but it seems to be that can be a bit difficult to cover every part of the objectives on our own, or even if we deal with the different partners.
Yeah. Yeah. In this sense, it is more like a normal Horizon call, in that I believe it is a consortium is needed unless you're really big to do it. Yeah. It is ultimately an R&D project, so you don't have to have everything in stock. There are certain things you can still develop as part of the project, and because you're developing prototypes. If your idea is sound, then this would work. When it is technology which is entirely untested, then it would be trickier, yeah, because yeah, we want to be able to scale. Or ultimately, at the end, we have buildings which need to be equipped. So we must know that it is at least possible, and there is some documentation for the performance. But for softer stuff, ICT related stuff, occupant or training facing stuff, I'm sure there are many concepts which are well established, and maybe you just have to develop the content for it. How to get a consortium together? Well, there's the matchmaking platform. Obviously, we can only reach those who know about procuRE and act on it during this stage. Some suppliers act only when they see the actual tender, because everything before doesn't matter to them. Yeah, they say, I don't know whether it will come or not. Why should I bother? The only way is to approach them. Yeah, to go to DuckDuckGo or Google and to search for someone who might be a partner and to talk with them and say, maybe you want to do a project with me, and if they have questions about the project, you can obviously direct them to us and say they can answer on certain issues. Yeah?
Okay.
So
okay.
we can help you with answering questions about the project, but we can't help you with making the building the consortium.
Mm-hmm. Okay, understand. Thanks.
Any other questions? Okay, then I give the word back to Nico, who will say a few words about the buildings.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you, George. Thank you, Roberto, for the valuable insights. As already mentioned, the main focus of the project is to cover 100% of existing energy demand for 6 pilot buildings, which are located in and outside the EU with novel renewable energy source technologies. You can see the buildings that are the focus of our project presented on the slide. Perhaps one of the greatest challenges in terms of meeting the specific requirements for the pilot buildings is that, I guess, they are representative of vastly different climates, which span from continental Europe to the Red Sea. So it's safe to predict that when all is said and done, the solutions developed within procuRE will be applicable to a very wide stock of buildings worldwide, which will present an enormous opportunity for any company that will own the IPR and also a few functioning pilot buildings for reference. So much is clear. So anyway, starting furthest north, we have a primary school and daycare center in Nuremberg, Germany. The building was constructed in 2015 as a so-called nearly zero energy building, according to the Passive House standard. So it's the most energy efficient building we have. Today with us, we have Mr. Alexander Nordhus from the city of Nuremberg, who will provide some additional information about the building. So Alexander, please go ahead.
Oh, well, okay. Yeah. As you said, I don't have, I don't think we have any more details here in the next slide or something like that, but I can provide, for example, the energy consumption, as we have had an average consumption per year of heating, or for the heating of about 80,000 kilowatt hours, and about 40,000 kilowatt hours for the electricity consumption. That's of course basically because of the ventilation system. We have a controlled ventilation that is basically only working in the winter time. It has already a schedule. It's working in the winter time, and only in summer at night. We have ventilation flaps, manual flaps that open at night, and that cools down the building at night. And only in this time the ventilation system is working in the summertime. So we have a quite sophisticated schedule already working there. Yeah, the natural gas boiler has about 90 kilowatt. That's for you to just have an imagination which power the building needs. Yeah, and it has 2 different usage parts: the school and the daycare center, of course, with also different use schedules, and the ventilation and also the heating system is already separated and separately controlled for the 2 parts. So much from Nuremberg.
Thank you very much, Alexander. So as you pointed out, we have about 80 megawatt hours and 40 megawatts for heat and 40 megawatt hours for electrical energy. So for an area, I think it's about 3,500. It's by far the most efficient building that we have within the pilot buildings. so much about Nuremberg. I may only add that some additional information about the pilot buildings is also available on the procuRE website, where visitors can find the recordings of national OMC events taking place from April until June. The events took place in national languages, but I think that technical information is universal. So if you're interested, please visit our website and have a look. We will, of course, provide updates soon. So moving further south, I guess the next pilot is focused on 2 buildings located in a rural setting in the village of Vinska Gora. That is about 6 kilometers away from the city of Velenje in Slovenia. The main building was constructed in 1970, I think 1973, and partially renovated in 2002. It features conventional brick masonry and has a heated surface area, I think about 580 square meters. It's used as a branch of the elementary school Gorica. So it's basically a primary elementary school. It consists of classrooms, playrooms, washrooms, restrooms, a kitchen with pantry, offices, everything you might expect from such a building. And the site also features an adjacent multi-purpose hall that has a main function as the sports gymnasium used by the school. And it also features 1 apartment and some additional offices, conference rooms, and restrooms that are used by the local community, interest associations, and other visitors. It's about 1,360 square meters, and it was renovated in 2020. I mentioned 2 buildings because the primary focus of the PCP demonstration pilot is anyway building A, but building B is of interest to be included, most notably because of the existing connection to the central heating system, and perhaps for its potential for utilizing the attributes of building B, such as, for example, the roof, in order to more easily meet the energy demands. Currently, the buildings are supplied by a highly efficient gas condensing boiler. It's a boiler for heating oil. Domestic hot water is prepared by electric heaters. I think this covers the site quite well. So we can move on to our next pilot building, which is located in Via Nova de Gaia in Porto. So it's Portugal. This building is also used as a primary school, and I think daycare center as well. It encompasses classrooms, sports hall, cabinets, dining room, and other spaces. It was constructed in 2014 and covers, I think, 3 floors with a usable surface area of about 5,500 square meters. This heating system is supplied by 2 natural gas boilers, and the building also has solar collectors on the roof for domestic hot water preparation. It uses a VRF system for cooling. Do we have anybody from Porto here today? I think not. So we can move on to the next building. I think moving from Porto, the next location to the south would be Barcelona. So this building is used as an office and data center. It was constructed in 1850 and renovated in 2010. I think the renovation was not primarily aimed at energy renovation per se, so there is much room for improvement in this respect still. The building has 4 stories and a basement. Besides offices, it also features a plenary hall for meetings and conferences. It covers an area of just over 2,400 square meters and utilizes a heat pump for heating and cooling. And the building also has a rather small photovoltaic power plant on the roof. I think it's about 5 kilowatts. And moving further south still would be the pilot building located in Istanbul, Turkey. This building was constructed in 2015, and its primary use is partially as a bakery school and partially as an administrative building. It's separated into two parts. The school building consists of 4 floors and a basement, while the administrative side has only 1 floor. In total, it spans across an area just over 6,700 square meters. It's also equipped with a VRF system for cooling, and I think it has no renewable energy generation capacity. I think we have Dr. Turash Ashrafian from the Ojegin University today. If Dr. would be able to provide some additional information about the building.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Nico, for your explanation. Yeah, just I want to say that there are lots of opinions since the building is used for as a bakery school. There are lots of opinions that are using the huge electricity and yeah, the building is a detached building, so there are lots of space in the building side that can be used to install any equipment, any renewable energy system equipment on the site, and also the roof of the building is fine in this proposal. To be frank, the building is not very efficient building, but I think if any improvement in the energy management system can be conducted through the project, it can be much more efficient and much more effective. Yeah, thank you very much, Nico. Yeah, it's all for me.
Thank you very much, Turash, for this insight. I guess we are only left with one. So finally, we have an office building and an exhibition center, which is located in Eilat, which is a port on the Red Sea in southern Israel. The building was constructed in the 1980s as an old air traffic terminal and control tower. It was partially renovated in 2000. It includes co-working laboratories, offices, a museum, and some other public spaces, which span across 2 floors on 1,170 square meters. Currently, the building uses air-to-water heat pump and some additional units for air conditioning for cooling the building. No notable capacity for renewable energy generation is present at this time. So I think just to illustrate the situation about the challenges awaiting for the procurers, this would suffice. Of course, as I mentioned, some additional information is and will be made available on the project website. So please take a look and follow our activity to make sure you stay well informed. Of course, if there are any questions, we will be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Nico. I think, are there any questions regarding the sites? A clear statement, there will be info packages for all the buildings, part of the tender, obviously, and during the phase 1, you will have opportunity to visit the sites, to push your packages further. Okay, I give the word to Mehmet.
Thank you, Georg. Excellent. I'm just going to try to load a slide. Oh, okay. Great. Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a good day. So I'm going to talk about the next steps in procuRE. As my colleagues have mentioned and presented, so we have currently ongoing OMC events, just like this one today. We have another one coming up. We also have a matchmaking platform for networking opportunities. I'm going to talk about that a little bit. And then we also have an OMC questionnaire, which aims to collect information from you to actually shape this challenge, but also how to address it. Then I'll also talk a little bit about preferred partner interaction. So we're currently doing the market research part, basically, and these events are not only to get the word out about procuRE, but also actually get input on your views, which we think it's very important to include. So currently, the plan is that we have a call for tender out in October to be closed in February. Then the first phase is planned to start in March and last until May 2022. The second phase would be from June 2022 to January 2023. And then finally, the third phase would be in February 23 to May 2024. Great. Just would like to encourage all of you to join us in the networking website or networking platform after this event, where you can meet other suppliers and procurers, and if you have any questions, we'll be more than happy to answer. But you can also network and see if there are others that you can team up to address this challenge. So you would need to just open the below link. You don't need to register or install anything, and yeah, then you'll be in this virtual area where you can mingle virtually. Yes. Yeah, and then we have the matchmaking platform. This is, you can find this platform on the procuRE website. So basically it is a platform where companies or suppliers, they present themselves, what they can deliver, but also what they're looking for, and this will also include some basics and contact information so that they can find other suppliers that they can team up with, that they can join forces to address the procuRE challenge. So we strongly encourage you to actually enter your information in the matchmaking platform so that you can find other partners who are also interested in the project. So you can, it's a very simple process. It just takes a few minutes, but it is a great tool to actually network and find relevant partners for this project. So we strongly encourage you to do that. And the next would be, sorry, the slides are moving a bit slow. Okay. Yes. And then we have the OMC questionnaire. So we know that a lot of the suppliers on the market, but also those who own and operate buildings, they have a lot of challenges that they face today. And we are very interested in hearing about what you see as particularly challenging, or even not maybe so challenging with this project, so that we can understand and shape the PCP in the best way, because we really think that the market can really give us a very good feedback on this challenge. But also we're interested in hearing, finding out about how you think about the PCP process, and if you think that it could be set up in a way that it would be more suitable to address this challenge. So we're very much looking forward to hearing what you have to say. So please, if you have the opportunity, take time after this event, just to 5 to 10, 15 minutes. It's not more than that, to answer some questions. It would help us greatly to understand your view on this challenge and how it can be addressed. So then, excellent. Preferred partner. So preferred partners are essentially from the demand side. So we know that this challenge is not only obviously limited to our procurers. There are many procurers out there, public or private, that they need to renovate their buildings. They need to increase the renewable energy supply from their building stock. So this is a relevant challenge for everyone, and we would like to interact more with the demand side, so that we can actually share insights from the project that it can help them, but also to get their feedback and get their input on procuRE. So that we can shape the process in the best way. So we strongly encourage actors from the demand side to actually register themselves as preferred partners and join. We have currently 5 preferred partners, mostly cities. Join them to actually have a closer access to the project process, but also to the results, which can benefit themselves. And yes, we also would like to invite the demand side to our special event for preferred partners that is organized on July 13th. So you can simply state your interest via email to procuRE at empirica.com. We would ask for brief motivation, such as your climate goals and how you're related to this topic, which we believe shouldn't be so hard, given that climate change is one of the biggest issues that we're facing today. And we would also ask for logo. It doesn't take a lot of time, but it is and it's free of charge, but it is very beneficial actually to have access to information that is otherwise may not be available publicly. Yes. Well, here is our website and our email address for suppliers. So if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. You can find our contact details on the website. We're more than happy to answer your questions. So yeah, and we would be very happy if you join us later in the networking event, but also if you can fill out the OMC questionnaire and also maybe register for a preferred partnership if you are on the demand side. Excellent. I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Yeah, I would also say thank you, but you are still last opportunity basically to ask questions in this forum as well. Otherwise, we are happy to receive your questions online via mail. Yeah, I strongly encourage you to follow our website, be it via Twitter, LinkedIn, or newsletter. Obviously, the letter to are quicker, the peer to are quicker than the newsletter. We will do our best to publish even before the tender what is truly final. Our timing, though, makes it a bit difficult. Obviously, it's summertime and so on to do so, but we will try to push out what is basically near final. Yeah, ultimately only the tender documents are final, but certain decisions are obviously being taken and go ahead. But the majority you truly heard today. Yeah, it is only about the details we might be requesting as part of the challenge brief, and making it work as a whole. Whether you hand in or not, I strongly encourage you to then later read the challenge brief. I think it is already a very good instruction on what the which problem the procurers actually have. So if you in the future you want to do renovations, whether it be part of the project or in other context, I believe it will give you a few insights on what does not work on the market right now, because there are various issues, and this project is a way to resolve them. There's a question, sorry. Yes, we do that. Thank you for saying this. It was just a box on one of the slides. Yes, we will have an info event after the tender is launched to basically explain the documents, the structure of the challenge brief. But yeah, since then it is a public procurement process. We will obviously have to be more careful as to in our phrasing, but yes, there will be an information event. So all well. Whatever you missed, you can watch online. It will be there, hopefully quickly. Permissions of upload are always an issue. That's the thing. The recording is there, but we need to get it on YouTube. Okay, then I say thank you. Have a good evening.
Georg,
yes,
there is a question from Olivier.
Something above?
A question from Olivier.
At the top, I didn't see it anymore. Yeah. Is it possible to integrate procuRE for a preferred partner from a same? Is it possible to integrate procuRE for a preferred partner from the same country of one of those? It doesn't matter. We take any country, yes. Any city, any procurer is invited to join and follow the project. And we will, on occasion, organize events to basically also give you, the successful suppliers, the platform to talk to these preferred partners. Yeah, you can about as much as you want to. We will not say that you have to disclose something which is IPR, but it will give you a forum to talk about the solutions and obviously pull them closer to your solution ultimately. And yeah, at the end of the event, at the end of the project, there will be open pilot days where you then can also physically show the solutions, and we will invite the preferred partners to visit our sites and help them with travel cost if we can. This is obviously subject to budget constraints. Thanks to Rush, I missed that. It went down from my scroll. Okay, I'll just check on Menti that nobody did it on Menti. Nope. Okay, then I have a good afternoon, have a good weekend. As the standard greeting by now, stay healthy and have a good summer. I hope we see you back when near the tender launch, and are looking forward to reading your amazing proposals. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. All the best.
Everybody, have a good day. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.